Yoel Romero has been cut from the UFC. He is 44 years old, comes off of 4 title fights in his last 5 fights. But that being said, he lost 4 of those fights. I think he lost actually all of them.
The amazing fight versus Adesanya.
Amazing.
Quality
I need to rewatch that because
Quality
I missed a couple of
Me
the
too.
highlights, some of the good parts. But he got cut. UFC or Dana White was asked that in a press conference recently. He was asked, why did you cut UL? Was there a specific reason? Is it because of his pay? Is it because of some issues between his contract, anything like that? Dana's response was, no, we're literally just starting to go through the list. He's 44. He's lost 4 out of his 5, and these are the tough decisions you've got to make. He went on to talk about how he's making even more cuts, and he says about 60. 60 is a lot of people,
cuts a lot.
right? He said notable
people.
names, so I don't know who else would be cut or who has a notable name that might be cut.
I think we're gonna be seeing Cowboy soon. I think we're gonna be
no
seeing
Cowboy.
I think.
Come on with
if
that
you cut
blasphemy.
Yoel,
No way.
Come on.
Cowboy is not going.
If you cut out Yoel, you're gonna cut out Cowboy.
No.
Why would you cut out a Yoel Romero? This guy is he's a big attraction.
Listen.
Like,
I've done some research.
You
Okay.
can't lie about that.
So I went above and beyond for both of us. Okay, because I know you didn't do nothing.
Quality.
I know you did nothing. So what I did was I tried to look at comparables and see what is Yoel actually worth, or you could basically come to the negotiation table and say, okay, he's done this and he's worth this amount of money, or vice versa, or he's not worth this much money from the UFC's perspective.
Yeah, but give me the date. Give me the date.
Okay. Yo, leave Paulo Costa alone, okay? So what I did was looked at what Yoel Romero was paid in his last fight against Adesanya. So the disclosed dollar amount that he was paid was $350,000 against Adesanya. And he earned $150,000 against Paulo Costa in his previous fight. That's
in a co-main event, right?
Romero. I don't recall, but it was $150,000. It was a contender fight, which turned into a number 1 contender fight. And then Paulo Costa got injured, and then whatnot. But so he made about $350,000 for a title fight, $150,000 for a regular fight. That being considered, I wanted to take a look further and see what did Yoel's pay-per-view rate look like for those ones that he did headline. So if you look at UFC 213, he pulled in 150,000 pay-per-view buys. UFC 2.
Who is that against?
Whitaker, I believe. So UFC, please don't ask me all the other main events because I don't have them listed down. I just have the UFC numbers. But
It's quality research.
well, I do research, but I don't do it all the way. So UFC 221, 130,000 pay-per-view buys.
Filthy casual.
UFC 225 was 250,000 buys, and then the most recent against Israel Adesanya 248 is not available. I think we'll see a trend of this where we don't really get estimates or any type of number because it's going through ESPN now, ESPN Plus app. Before you would get an idea from the providers, the pay-per-view providers, like whatever, maybe Comcast. I don't even know if Comcast is a provider, but we would know numbers. Now we don't necessarily know them, but by the looks of it, he's basically pulling in 150 to 250,000 pay-per-views. In the UFC's history, 250,000 to 150,000 to 250,000 is not necessarily the best.
That's not bad buys either, man. Like
that's not terrible.
If you compare it to it's not bad at all. Like, let's be honest here. If it's not Conor or Khabib, it's not gonna pull anywhere close to 1 million buys, right? Even getting 200, is a lot of buys.
Yeah, 1 million without either one of those guys is very difficult for the UFC to achieve. You do see it in like DC versus Jones, which almost got 1 million, or it did get 1 million. I don't recall. You see UFC 200, which got over 1 million, but that was because it was UFC 200.
It was a big
right?
event.
And
Because Brock Lesnar.
yeah, Islam Makhachev was waiting for Brock Lesnar in the back as a late replacement, but
And Mayweather.
and Mayweather was also. But so if you look at Yoel Romero, if you look at his Instagram followers as well, he has about 1.1 million followers. This is just to look at his media presence, his social media presence, like how relevant is he? So he has about 1.1 million. I looked at Izzy's, which is 4 million. I looked at Whitaker's, which is 906,000, and I looked at Costa's, which was 1.1 million. So he's not necessarily completely irrelevant in the social media world. He has a name. He can pull between 150,000 to 250,000 pay-per-view buys. I kind of lean towards the idea that UFC is not willing to pay a 44-year-old who doesn't necessarily have a future to get another title shot. He will probably act like a gatekeeper. He will probably stop these younger guys that he faces from actually getting title shots or building a name, because he'll just beat them randomly. He's 44 years old, getting paid around.
He's also not
Yeah.
promoted very well too, right?
Yeah,
So
he's very
that's also
in the MMA community. The hardcores, they love him, or at least I love him for his antics and his craziness and his memes and all that. Like the whole Tim Kennedy fight, that was nuts, where he wouldn't get off the stool and then he comes back and wins the fight all of a sudden. Right? The list just goes on and on and on. I was sad to see him see him get released, but at least hopefully he does go on to join Bellator or ONE FC or something like that, and it completely dominates there. I think he could become a middleweight champion anywhere else. Maybe he goes to 205. He's tired of making that cut.
Although honestly, if I'm being honest with you, I was hoping for the Costa rematch.
Yeah,
it didn't happen.
You never know. Maybe UFC comes back and uncuts him and makes a deal with him. I remember they did something not similar in terms of the situation, but they cut Yair Rodriguez, and then a little bit after they re-signed him. They let him go because of whatever reasons, and then they re-signed him. So there's always a chance.
But he's quite a bit younger.
Yeah, just a little
right?
bit, just a little bit. So I also wanted to look at somebody else that was pretty old in respects of MMA fighting that was in the UFC.
Cowboy?
That was in the UFC. No, Cowboy he's in his 30s. He's not that old. Dan Henderson. So Dan Henderson is about 50 years old now. But his last fight that he had was when he retired was at 46 against Bisping. So I looked at some of the stats. That pay-per-view pulled in 290,000 pay-per-view buys. So that's not too much over the average of what Yoel does, but it's still significant enough considering.
That's also because I had Bisping.
Yeah,
right?
it was the whole storyline of their rematch, vengeance, Bisping on the rise. I think that was in England. I don't recall. It might have not been, but Dan Henderson for that fight got paid $600,000 to show, $50,000 for fight of the night bonus, and $30,000 for Reebok sponsorship. So it's
good money.
It's big money. It's Dan Henderson who has done more in the sport than what Yoel has done, but just looking at comparables to what Yoel's situation is, Dan Henderson wasn't on any win streaks or hot win streaks. I think he came off a win against Hector Lombard before he faced Michael Bisping, but before that he lost 3 out of 4 of his fights previous to facing Hector Lombard, winning, and then facing Michael Bisping. So he wasn't on any of these hot streaks either, but he went on and retired on his own merit. He chose to leave after the Bisping fight and was paid handsomely compared to what Yoel was. Again, these are disclosed, so it could be even more, maybe less. I don't know. I don't know how it works. Maybe these are after taxes, maybe. or before taxes. I don't know, but it's sad to see Yoel go. There's been older guys like Dan Henderson that have been there. Maybe he comes back. I don't know, but
yeah, well, like
it was fun while it lasted.
Honestly, man, like the nail in the coffin was the Izzy fight,
Yeah.
right? If he even put up even a little bit of pressure, I think he wouldn't have been cut.
Yeah.
Because that fight had like so much potential to be like a fight of the year candidate. And this guy was just, you know, he was just standing in the middle. He was waiting for like for a chance to counter, and then he never countered.
That was a fight that could have went two ways. One, it could have been the worst possible, which was the eventual outcome, or it could have been one of the most exciting. So, like, that's what happens, especially when you put in two high-level counter strikers, and you put in the enigma that is Yoel Romero. Like, sometimes it just doesn't work out. So, yeah, it was a boring fight, but I don't think he deserved to get cut that soon. It would have been fun to see.
It was a very patient fight. I wouldn't say it was boring.
Yeah.
There was so much attention in the air, but even then, though, yeah.